fact, not them. The question is, have they forgotten 911? I haven't. We're going to show you that footage again. Now, who are we fighting? Why are we trying to bring Saddam Hussein to justice? Have you forgotten who he is? Because of Dan Rather's piece, making him look like a reasonable world leader who George Bush doesn't like personally? That's not what it's all about. What it's all about is the fact that he has committed atrocities, crimes against humanity, on an order of 10,000 greater than Slobodan Milosevic. It's 10,000 times greater than Slobodan Milosevic, and no one remembers it. Well, you're going to remember it tonight. And we're going to talk about why we fight. You're going to see why we fight. I'm going to make you remember why we fight. This footage of the World Trade Centers being hit by the planes and melting down, by the way, it should be required viewing in every schoolroom in the United States of America for the next 5 years. What are the other topics on the Savage Nation? Because there are other topics, and you can call on any one of these by dialing 1-888-MSNBC-USA. Infanticide stopped by the Senate. For those of you who don't know what partial birth abortion means, it's infanticide, pure and simple. And no matter which side of the abortion debate you may be on, and it really doesn't matter which side you're on, what's important is that you understand that partial birth abortion is a misnomer. It's infanticide by any other name. And you know, in the last administration, it was outlawed by the Senate, it was outlawed by the House, and it was vetoed by Bill Clinton and the abortion lobby. Well, this time, thank God, the Senate just passed it again. I'm sure the House will follow, and I don't think George Bush is going to veto it this time, do you? And you're going to see pictures that I hope you never forget. Also, for your viewing pleasure on the Savage Nation, who is going to be this week's Hollywood Idiot? Well, I'm not going to tell you yet, because if I do, I'll give away the surprise. But right now, I want to go to some of our callers. Again, if you've dialed in 1-888-MSNBC-USA, you can join us on the fastest growing television show on Saturdays, at least Saturday at 5 on the East and Saturday at, 2 o'clock on the West. And we're being rerun again tonight. I like that. Jose, pardon me. Jose, you're on the Savage Nation. What's on your mind?
Yeah, really, I tried to get through last week, and
yeah.
And I'm with everything he said. What do you want me to do about it? Where can I go?
We'll go where? With what?
I mean, what can we do?
No, but Jose, let's back up for a minute.
The Army
what can we do? Wait, what can we do about what part of it, Jose? I'm not following you. All right, let's go to the next caller, Steve.
The Vietnam War.
All right, thanks, Jose. Thanks for calling. I need someone to call with a question or a comment. That would be the better thing to do. Teresa, you're on the Savage Nation. Topic, please. Oh, we're just batting 1,000 today. Let's go to Jason on Saddam Hussein. Jason, you're on the Savage Nation. What's on your mind? Well, I tell you the truth, this is just crackerjack on the Savage Nation, but I'm not worried. I've watched television from its inception. As long as the props don't fall over on me and the coffee doesn't spill and set me on fire with an electronic display, I'll be happy. So when I come back, my call screeners in Parsippany, New Jersey, or is it Upper Parsippany, New Jersey, will be sure to get me some callers. Right now, remember the number, 1-888-MSNBC-USA, to get onto the Savage Nation. Be here or be nowhere. Welcome back to the Savage Nation. We're talking primarily now about 6 topics. The number one is the Elizabeth Smart mystery story. If you want to talk about it, this is the number to call. If you want to talk about Saddam Hussein, you want to talk about why we fight, you want to talk about the World Trade Center, you want to talk about the Hollywood idiots, fine. Let's go to Todd, who wants to talk about Saddam Hussein. Todd, welcome to the Savage Nation. Well, again, we have no transmission on the other side. So we'll go to Brian, who wants to talk about Iraq. Otherwise, I could always read the Bible. It is Saturday. I could do a sermon. Is it Todd up there? Hello, Todd. Are you with us on the Savage Nation?
Hey.
Yeah, what's on your mind, Todd?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so what's on your mind? I'm glad you're there. What's your question or comment?
Well, first off, I want to congratulate you on your show, Mike. We love you here.
All right, I'm glad you love me, but what's your question or comment, Todd?
Well, my comment is, I'm wondering how long are we going to be embarrassed by the French and the UN and all these other detractors? I mean, we're wasting
the French?
time and money.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the French.
And thirdly, I'd like to say
I want to comment on the French for a minute. I want to comment on the French. Hold it a minute.
Way to go,
excuse me,
Martin
turn
Sheen.
down
Can
the
you be any
sound.
more of a hypocrite?
A brave new France is what we have right now. Now, France is reminding me of the France that was conquered by Germany, Vichy France, ruled by Marshal Pétain. Remember that period? Some of you may remember it. Why do I say that France is starting to show the signs of Vichy France? One, it's hostile to England. It's friendly to Germany. It's wary of the United States. It is no friend to the Jews. It is contemptuous of any kind of battle. It wants to avoid trouble, and it wants to be collaborationist. France is what France was in 1943, 1944, before it was liberated. So I'm not shocked by France. So, I mean, they're just going back to form, and that's all there is to it. But let's not go into the boycott of French products. It's meaningless. There are no French products that I know of other than Bordeaux wine, which I drink once a year. All right, Brian wants to talk about Saddam. Welcome to the Savage Nation, Brian. What's on your mind? Brian, are you on the Savage Nation?
Yes, hi, Michael.
Hiya. What's on your mind, Brian?
Hey, good news from San Francisco. I was at the Saddam anti-Bush rally.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people there. A lot of pot smokers, but not a lot of people.
Oh, you mean today? Well, why didn't they come out in droves today? What happened? They had their fun yesterday when they trashed people in cars going to work?
Yeah, I guess so. I think they're losing steam.
Well, I don't know that they're losing steam. I think what they're doing is there aren't that many of them.
Oh, I totally agree, Mike. I totally agree.
The radicals
are kind of... Like to make?
You know what I love about these protesters? Excuse me, we keep hearing that it's the spectrum of America, it's grandfathers and grandmothers and its children. It's the spectrum of America. And we're worried about the splinter groups. Let me tell you, the whole damn group of them is one splinter group. It's a splinter in our eye. And they embarrass me. We've got men and women on the ground who are going to get killed. And I don't appreciate these sons of SOBs, whatever they are. You know, there's a time for protest. There's a time for protest, and there's a time for no protest. And once those bullets start flying, they're committing sedition. This is not the 1960s. This is a just war. And I don't like it any more than you do, my friend. Thank you for calling. Thank you very much. Again, if you want to talk about this or any other topic on the Savage Nation, 1-888-MSNBC-USA. Glenn. You're on the Savage Nation. Glenn, what's on your mind? What's your topic today?
My topic is President Carter.
President Carter? Yeah, President Carter. I almost forgot him for a minute. The guy who had relatives who waved around snakes and drank acid? Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, he just came out and criticized President Bush. And, you know, I think it goes right across party lines, a former Democratic president, you know, criticizing our Republican president. It was never done before.
It wasn't even done, excuse me, it wasn't even done to Clinton. Despite all of Clinton's excesses, I did not see one former president from the other party criticizing Bill Clinton while he was in office. You know, it's a closed circle.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Jimmy Carter and who he is before we get too carried away. Let's put him in context. In my humble opinion, Jimmy Carter was just awarded a Nobel Prize. Congratulations, Jimmy. You joined the effete society of Yasser Arafat. You're in very good company. Any other questions? I mean, what's the big deal about Jimmy Carter? Jimmy Carter was a disaster as a president. He's a disaster as a former president. I mean, what more do you need to know about him? Is there anything else you can say about him?
Bush is trying to do the right thing. He's a good man. He's trying to do the right thing, and this idiot's criticizing him.
He's not an idiot. He is a man with an agenda. He is part of the internationalist New World Order, New Socialist New World Order, One World Agenda, who wants to give up America's sovereignty. That's why the liberals, so-called, are continuously saying, oh, why don't we defer to the UN? Why don't we let the UN inspectors have more time? What they're saying is, give up the very thing that you fought for in the Revolutionary War. Give up everything that you fought for in the Revolutionary War. Wasn't our original war, the American Revolution, to throw off the yoke of Europe? And here these idiots want us to put the yoke of Europe back around our necks. I don't buy it, my friends, and I don't think many Americans do. Okay, thanks for that call. 1-888-MSNBC-USA is the phone number on any of these topics. I know many of you are very interested in the war, and so am I, and we'll talk about the rats versus the eagles as time goes on. But there are other topics in America. Settle back, relax, call me at that number. Joel, on the Academy Awards. Joel, what's on your mind? Welcome to the Savage Nation. Hi, Joel.
Hi. Hey, listen, Michael, I was just wondering about this Academy Awards, and I urge people, about 100 million people to be watching, if there's any anti-American comments that people turn the televisions off, it'll hit the sponsors directly, and that's all I got to say.
Well, yeah, the Academy Awards are very worried because it's going to be interfered with by our need for national security. See, it's a big trade show, and we're going to have the Academy Awards here, the pre-Academy Awards, because I'm granting one tonight to the Hollywood Idiot of the Week, and I think you're going to be quite surprised who wins. Man, she's gorgeous. But what she doesn't know is she's going to be ridiculed tonight. So if you're a Hollywood actress out there, stay tuned, because you may appear as the Hollywood Idiot of the Week right here on the Savage Nation. I guarantee it, you'll be embarrassed. Right here on the Savage Nation. Be here or be nowhere. I'm Michael Savage. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Savage Nation. What I want you to look at now is why we fight. What I want you to do is I want you to see the World Trade Center. Remember them, 9/11? Does anyone remember that? Any of you good liberals remember that 3,000 some odd of your fellow citizens went up in smoke? Now, notice the fireball as your good friends, the Islamo-fascists, who brought us to peace from their homeland, visited us here. Take a look at the smoke rising there. Or shall I point it out for you, for those of you who are visually impaired? Those smoke clouds, it's not just cellulose, it's not just steel, it's not just timber, it's not just beams, it's not just plastic. Human beings are actually going up in smoke. Now, we don't have the footage of the people jumping out of the windows and splatting on the ground like watermelons. But you know something? I don't think it would be such a bad idea to show that. We have Hollywood producing some of those most violent and vile imagery you can ever imagine. But when it comes to showing the actualities of why we fight, suddenly it's hands off. You can't show it. So this is the best we could do. Planes flying into the building. You're going to see that. Oh, there we go. There's the building going down. It's shocking. I break into a sweat every time I see it. And I want to know why we're not seeing it on the eve of the war. Why are we seeing pictures of Saddam Hussein in a business suit looking like a reasonable leader who just needs more time to display his weapons that he may or may not have? And I don't understand why our president at his conferences doesn't just simply ask his people to show this stuff and say, remember what happened on 9/11? This is our Pearl Harbor. I mean, is it not? Or do you think it's off the board for me to show it? But don't even call on that. It's so obvious what it is to me. And we do need vengeance. We do need to bring this man to justice. He is a 10,000 or 100,000 times fold greater in terms of crimes against humanity than Slobodan Milosevic. That's the way it is. So let's go to the callers now. Drew on Saddam Hussein, welcome to the Savage Nation. Drew, what's on your mind?
Hi, Michael. My question is Saddam going to launch missiles on Israel again? If so, is Israel going to retaliate?
Well, you know, Israel didn't retaliate in the last war because they weren't allowed to. And they weren't allowed to because it would provoke the Muslim world, which I think is ludicrous since they've been provoked since Jews moved into the neighborhood, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about racism. Why is it that an area like that should be free of Christians or free of Jews? I still can't figure that out. I mean, I thought that we live in a tolerant, multicultural world. Why is it that they don't want Christians or Jews in their area? I don't quite get it. Can you figure that one out for me? Yeah, I can figure it out. Have you forgotten what the Taliban did when they occupied Afghanistan? Let me remind you what the Taliban did. Do you remember what they did? They took educated women, they made them quit their jobs, they put them in burqas. That was number one. Number two, the tolerant Taliban, in the name of their religion, blew up Buddhist statues that had been there for 1,300 years. Buddhist statues. I'm surprised the UN didn't call that a hate crime. I'm quite surprised that Hans Blix still hasn't called it a hate crime. Did you know that they collapsed walls on homosexuals in Afghanistan? Did you know that? Did you know that we fought the most religiously intolerant people on the planet, the most sexually unliberated people on the planet, and yet you would think by the left that we're worse than the Taliban? And that's why I say, ladies and gentlemen, you have to remember why we fight. You have to remember scenes like this. You have to remember what actually went on in those countries, such as Afghanistan. And I will tell you something else. You know, we've given peace a chance in Iraq for, what, 13 years now? I say it's time to give war a chance. And the reason I say give war a chance, because war will uncover the weapons of mass destruction. The Iraqi people will be liberated from this Hitler. And finally, he can be brought to the United Nations, which you all love so much, for his day in court. And that's all I want to say on that. You want to talk about this or any other topic, the phone number, 1-800-1888 MSNBC USA. This is the Savage Nation. Be here or be nowhere. I'm Michael Savage.
There's a mysterious, highly contagious form of pneumonia spreading from Asia through air travelers. As many as 8 people have died. There are 150 reported possible cases. The respiratory disease is not responding to antibiotics or other conventional medicines. That's a look at some of the headlines making news at this hour. I'm Sam Shane. Right now, it's back to Savage Nation.
Well, we're going to do the Hollywood Idiot in a minute, but hold it, don't do it. That news break was really something. Did you see the tuberculosis or the pneumonia, whatever it was? Did you catch that? Now, it's coming in through air travelers. It's coming in from Asia. You know how I got into this business? I'm a PhD in nutrition and epidemiology from the University of California at Berkeley. I'm very proud of it. I worked really hard to get it. And I tried to publish, I think then it would have been my 15th or 16th book on immigrants and epidemics. But New York wouldn't touch it for political reasons. I have been trying to warn America for 8 years about the dangers of out-of-control illegal immigration. Your grandfather, grandmother, great-grandmother, great-grandfather, whatever came in, didn't they have to go through a screening process to see if they were diseased, if they were a criminal, if they could support themselves? Today it's a turnstile. And in with the immigrants came the terrorists. Has it changed? Not at all. Nothing has changed. Why? Because both parties are in on the gangbang of America. They both want the illegal aliens for different reasons, which I'll do at another time in the show. But I suggest something. I suggest you read about immigrants and epidemics, which got me in this business, in my book, The Savage Nation. And now let's get down to some really pleasant topic. And this week's Hollywood Idiot, I can't give you the name yet. We've got a runner first. Here it is, and you'll see who the winner is. Nice graphics. Runner, I'm not going to give the name yet. I want them to see her, and then I'll tell them her name. You could start running the footage. There it is. The winner is Jessica Lang. Let's see her, and you'll see why I declare her the Hollywood Idiot of the Week. Jessica, let's hear what you've got to say against the war on the Savage Nation.
Kind of
there it is.
Banal rhetoric that's been thrown around in the press about whether or not, you know, we have a right to speak out. Or the
over here we have Edward Scissorhands, another great foreign policy expert from Hollywood.
Equate anti-war work with anti-patriotic feelings.
Yes.
Is one of the most inane and
why is she smiling? Can someone explain to me why she's smiling?
Bit of rhetoric.
Is this sort of a pre-Academy Award thing?
That would be to assume, then, wouldn't it? That being anti-war...
Assume what, Jessica?
Is the equivalent of being anti-American.
It is, Jessica.
Then where, you know
stop it for a minute. Just stop it for a minute. Just stop it for a minute. This is just garbage. You know, when you've got troops on the ground, ladies and gentlemen of the Savage Nation, and these young boys and these young women are dying so we can have the freedom to talk as we do on this television set, and whether you buy it or not is irrelevant, it's true. You know, this kind of rhetoric demoralizes them, it encourages Saddam Hussein and his troops, and it confuses the American people. Go back to this Hollywood Idiot. Do me a favor. I want to listen to the rest of this rhetoric.
Basic tenet of our democracy.
Edward Scissorhands,
and I think,
stage right.
You know, just like poets, musicians, artists.
Oh well, there you go, right there. I guess we're all wrong. It's poets, artists, musicians.
All boundaries.
What boundaries do they cross? They're all left-wing, red diaper doper babies, Jessica. They're all red diaper doper babies from hell, Jessica. All right, turn her off. Just leave a picture on the screen. Look, Jessica, you're a cute chick, and you were nice to King Kong, but there's a new ape in town. And that ape is me, Michael Savage. You're not going to get away with it anymore, okay? Get her off the screen. Get her off the screen. She's had enough screen time on the Savage Nation. Finito. Gone. Let's go to the callers. What else? Oh, you know what I really want to see? When I get a caller up who's going to talk about why we fight and we go to Saddam, would you please run the footage, the atrocity footage that America must see? John, you want to talk about Iraq? Please do. Welcome to the Savage Nation. Go ahead. John, go ahead. I guess there's no John.
Hello?
Yeah, John, what's on your mind?
Yeah, with the way weapons inspections are going, Saddam's putting on a charade with taking apart a couple of missiles. We've already know that he's got 4 tons of VR nerve gas.
Yeah, well, are you seeing these pictures as you talk, John? Look at this.
Yeah, I am.
How come no one else in the world remembers these dead people? 100,000, according to UN estimates at that time, were gassed to death.
Yeah, in Iran.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Take a look at this. This is northern Iraq. These are children loaded in there like cordwood. They're Kurdish children. They're Iraqi children. And this man has never been brought to justice. Why is the UN not bringing Saddam to justice? Doesn't this sicken you liberals? Does this sicken you? It gets me nauseous. But I want you to keep running it. Keep running it. Okay? Thank you for that call. Keep running this footage. I want the people in America who are watching the Savage Nation right now to understand why we fight. It's not a myth, Jessica Lange. I know that she almost won an Academy Award for playing a mad woman, didn't she? She played Frances Farmer, who was an actress who was mentally unstable, and she received an Academy Award nomination for it. But these people in Hollywood live in a fantasy land. They make President Bush worse than Saddam Hussein. And just keep watching the footage. I want to take your calls, okay? Patricia, on the war. Welcome to the Savage Nation. What's on your mind? Hello, Patricia.
Hello.
What's on your mind? Go ahead.
Michael, what I'd like to know is, I understand that no one wants war, but why are we delaying? Look at World War II. If we would have depended on United Nations in 1941, we would have lost the war.
Well, there was a League of Nations that was largely discredited by that time. But let's be honest here. What gets me sick is not only delaying the war, which was a mistake on the part of the Bush advisors, incidentally. If he had done this a year ago, he would have had the world behind him. And the left would have never gained the traction they have right now. But let's put that aside. What really irks me, and I don't know how to say this, but I'll say it as directly as I can, when I turn on CNN and I see them giving away troop movements, troop positions, they show aircraft carriers. Well, Wolf, I guess we're leaving, and they give the coordinates. And it has 6,000 men, and it has this number of airplanes. Here's a B-2 bomber. It flies with this number of weapons out of this Air Force base. They were shot in World War II for this kind of stuff. But the liberals in the major media today are committing sedition, and they don't even know it, half of them. They're giving away troop movements. They're giving away numbers of men. They're giving away numbers of ordnance. Last night, I was stunned. I'm sitting in bed, and I think I was watching CNN. One of the swarmy newsmen gets up there and says, I think it's the 5th Division, is stuck off the coast of Turkey. And they say, this is the premier edition of the U.S. military. They have weapons specifically to fight in the desert, but they're stuck up there in Turkey and they can't get out there, nor can their men. And they're smiling about it. When are you people going to recognize that there is a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th column operating in the United States of America? You get it? If not, you're going to get it as you watch the Savage Nation and listen to the radio show. You get it? I think you're going to get it eventually, because it's a no-holds-barred television program right here on MSNBC. 1-888-MSNBC USA.
Showdown.
You know, I'm sitting here reading on baby body parts for sale. You've come a long way, baby. And I'm going to talk about infanticide, a partial birth abortion right now. And I'm going to read you a paragraph or two. See what you think. Not only are babies, even at or near birth, being killed every day in America, this bastion of human rights, but their organs are also being harvested and sold on the black market. Every day we're reminded of human cruelty in foreign lands. We see specials on TV about the Nazi atrocities in the death camps. We shudder and vow that it will never happen here, while our babies are being killed by the millions every year right here in the U.S. Did you know that companies are selling body parts? Did you know that pieces of babies are being sold on the open market? Did you know it's a huge business? Did you know that some of this money is being funneled to the Democrat machine? Did you know that the presence of women in politics did not bring us compassion? Did you know that a woman senator by the name of Barbara Boxer got up on the Senate floor, and after it was banned the other day, she had the nerve to say, it's unconstitutional? Barbara, shame on you. Shame on you. We were told in the Age of the Woman that women in politics would bring us more compassion. Is that your idea of more compassion, Barbara? Late-term abortion, which is really infanticide. And isn't it interesting, ladies and gentlemen of the savage nation, that the international community, instead of threatening to bomb or take sanctions against us for mass infanticide, is more concerned about our imprisoning convicted terrorist murderers? But what can you expect, ladies and gentlemen? Everything is a distortion. That is the savage truth right here on the Savage Nation. Now let's take a look at what partial birth abortion is. I want you to look at it. It's a couple of drawings. It won't shock you. It's safe for children. Now it starts with, you know, the forceps going in. Nothing shocking here. Let's go to the next frame, please. The living baby, by the way, 5 months old. It's already a person with a soul. See, S-O-U-L. Now the doctor starts to pull the little baby out. Go ahead. It's still living and breathing. Now the head gets stuck. And take a guess what the good doctors do, the abortionists, at this point, with a living, breathing human being. They break the skull open. Is it too shocking for you? Well, it's even more shocking to the baby. They break the skull open and they extract the brains so that they can pull the poor thing out of the womb. And then, of course, they sell the body parts. Does that disturb you? I hope it disturbs you. Maybe you'll be shocked into awareness that there's a big difference between abortion in the early term and the killing of live, living human beings. That's how I see it. I'm Michael Savage. You want to talk about this or any other topic? By all means, 1-888-MSNBC-USA is the number to call. You know, one of the opening statements of my show says, welcome to the Savage Nation, da-da-da-da-da, psychological nudity and all of that. What does psychological nudity means? It means let's pull the mask off most of the topics that people talk about. Can we get rid of the niceties because people are dying, people have died, and all of this stuff about peace and love and anti-war is exactly the opposite, by the way, in my humble opinion. Alan, you want to talk about the Elizabeth Smart Mystery Series. Welcome to the Savage Nation. Topic, please. Go ahead. Alan, what's on your mind? What's your question or comment?
Elizabeth Smart. My question is given that the religious fanatics that took Elizabeth Smart as captive, do you feel that her manipulation was facilitated by her upbringing?
Well, it's an interesting question. I know what you're implying, that it was because this homeless bum who should have been in a mental hospital took her off the street. The left is suddenly calling him a religious fanatic. The fact is he is a religious fanatic. But the biggest story is that he's a homeless bum who was babbling to himself, who was a danger and a threat to the community, in my opinion, and he should have been taken off the streets by the police and put into a mental hospital a long time ago. And this goes to the whole heart of the bum problem in the United States of America. First of all, they're not homeless. That's a left-wing misnomer. Where does it say in the U.S. Constitution that you're entitled to a home? Did anyone give you an apartment or a home? If they cannot take care of themselves, if they are a clear and present danger to your daughters, as this man apparently was, why was he allowed in the streets? Because the left wing in this country said approximately 20 years ago, it's a human right to be able to sit in a doorway, beg, urinate in a doorway, defecate in the mailbox. That's a human right to the left. I believe we need to get these people off the streets. They need to be put into mental hospitals or prisons where they belong. Certainly, if a man or a woman cannot take care of themselves, isn't it the job of a humane society to take care of them? Is this your idea of taking care of them? Living in cardboard boxes? They need to be cleaned up. They need to be medicated. They need to be clothed. They need to be fed properly. But the streets are not a place to do that. And the left, mainly the ACLU, says it's a human right. They're liars and they're wrong. Thank you for that call. It's got nothing to do with religion. It has to do with the bums on our streets. Okay, Thomas wants to talk about France. Thomas, welcome to the Savage Nation. What is your exact question or comment, please? Thomas?
Yeah, I got a comment on France.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking that we should take a Statue of Liberty, turn it on its side, put it on an oil tanker, and ship it back to them, because it's clear that they're more worried about their oil prices than about the freedom of
yeah,
America.
You know,
and its
I'm into
allies.
the symbolic gesture, but I happen to think the Statue of Liberty is a beautiful gift from another generations ago in France, and I like bronzes, number 2. But number 3, if you want to do something symbolic, why not paint a tear, a big, big tear on the eye of the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, that might be a little
in
better.
day glow orange, that could be glowing at night. That would send a message to Chirac and the French that the Statue of Liberty is crying. I think that would be great agitprop. You know, give it back to the liberals. We know how to play the game as well. Okay, I'm a former social worker. I know exactly the game called agitprop. I read the little red book of Mao Zedong that was real popular a number of decades ago. What they didn't tell you was that 30 million people were killed by old Uncle Mao. And we can't let that happen here, can we? And let me tell you something. If you pay attention to what I'm talking about in this show, perhaps we have a chance to save this country. Because right now, it's debatable. Okay? 1-888-MSNBC-USA on this or any other topic right here on The Savage Nation.
This week in jail has been like Jonah getting swallowed by the whale. It's turned me right around, and I know I need to do what the Lord wants me to do with my life, and I'm deeply sorry, and nothing like that's going to happen again.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel. I appreciate it. So there's Emmanuel, king of the bums. Does he belong in jail or a mental hospital? I mean, be honest with yourself. Do you want people like this poor guy marching around the streets? I don't. And this never would have happened if the liberals hadn't dumped their human trash on the streets. I'm sorry, that's the way I see it. If it hurts you, you know what? It hurts Elizabeth Smart even more for what happened to her. Do you know how many countless crimes are committed by these people deranged on the street because you liberals said it's a human right for them to live in cardboard boxes? Forget about it. I don't want to talk about him anymore. We'll talk about all the other topics. Could you get that face off the screen? It freaks me out. I remember there was a guy I knew in Hawaii who looked like that. He was a nut, walked around with the Bible, ripped everyone off, tried to screw everyone's wife, robbed you of your money, but he was a religious guy. You know that type? All right, we're going to take callers. We're going to run the video. We're going to read from the book. It's another savage nation in America. By next week, I have a feeling it's all going to be about Iraq, okay? Pam, welcome to the Savage Nation. What's your topic, please?
Hello?
Yes, what's on your mind, Pam?
Oh, hi. I just wanted to make a comment about people that are opposing war. First of all, they seem to forget that we live in America, and thank God this is a free country where they can say what they want.
Right.
And second of all, even though I'm a Democrat and I really did not like President Bush at first, I respect the fellow because it's been through a lot. First, we had 911, which I haven't forgotten, and many people seem to have forgotten about
Well,
it.
let's run 911 again up here. I mean, while this lady's talking, run that footage again so we don't forget the World Trade Center. That's what you're talking about.
You know,
Thank you for calling.
Many of our people
Thank you very much for that call. I appreciate it. Yeah, run that footage. Maybe America and the world can remember, who are watching now, that that's why we fight. Do we have any of that footage of Frank Capra's great movies from World War II? You know what's interesting to me? In World War II, Hollywood was so patriotic. They did a whole series of movies that were directed by Frank Capra, Why We Fight. We've gone in one generation from that to these Hollywood idiots who are out there trying to put a knife in America's back at every turn. How did that happen that we went from Rosie the Riveter to Rosie O'Dumbbell in one generation? Is that going now? That's cute. It's almost like a syphilis movie in the 19... Remember those syphilis movies? Boys, when you go out there, make certain that you wear a jacket. That's what is this what I asked for? What is this? Is there any sound? There's no sound? We almost lost the war at the beginning. I could see why. Yeah, play it up. Let's hear it. Come on, let's hear the Lone Ranger. I want to hear that voice like in the theaters. This is what I want to see. Raise the volume. Let's hear that. I want to hear that stuff. Come on. Well, this isn't any. All right, can it. Forget about it. That's not what I needed.
Into the war.
Oh, let's hear it. There we go.
What are the causes? Why are we Americans on the march?
There we go.
Is it because of...
Aha. Why are we Americans on the march? Is it because... See, that's what we need. This is exactly what we need. Why are we Americans going to war? That's what I'm trying to do here. But it's a one-man operation. You know, I can only do so much. The Savage Nation means you. All you savages and savagettes out there, I invite you to understand what I stand for. Maybe you think I'm a very intolerant man. I'm going to invite you to go to my website, which is shown on the screen, or my personal website, which is michaelsavage.com, and see my 9-point program for saving America, okay? Let's take some nice callers now. If they're nice, I don't know. If you disagree with me, fine. Angelo, welcome to the Savage Nation. Question or comment, Angelo? What is it?
It's a comment.
Go ahead.
It's a
Angelo, talk.
It's a comment. It's about these celebrities.
Yeah.
Siding against America. They forget. Hello.
All right, turn him off. No one forgot that. Jack, you're on the Savage Nation. What's your question or comment, Jack? No one forgot. That's what we're doing.
How you doing, Mike?
Go ahead, Jack.
Hello. First of all, we're all behind you, Mike, and don't worry about all these advertisers who are leaving your show. We're going to stand up to them, and I think you ought to sue Procter and Gamble.
Wait. Ho. I'm not worried about any advertisers. In fact, we have more advertisers. Jack, take a walk. Take a walk, Jack. I'm not worried about anything. I have more people lining up to be on this show than you can ever put on the show. So let's forget about those gutter groups that don't happen to like me. We still live in America, you know. We don't live in the Taliban world where they'd like to put us. You know, that's what it's all about. There are groups that don't like me. They don't have to like me. But I'm one man trying to make a living. You understand? Now, I can get into this if you want. I really shouldn't, but I will. During the 1930s in Germany, when the Nazis wanted the Germans to stop buying at certain stores, they painted Jude in the window. That meant Jew. And that told the good Germans not to buy in that store. To me, the people who are trying to knock me off the air are descendants of those brown shirts. Okay? That's how I see it. Hey, have a nice week. I'll be back next week with another Savage Nation. Be sure to tell all your friends about it. And visit me on the web. Oh, here we go. Here comes the train. I'm going to get a slice of pizza today and a beer. That's what I want. Oh, do I want a slice of pizza and a beer in that train. I don't think they have that in Japan, though, do they? The Japanese bullet train. That is a beautiful train.